The Fujicast is an independent loading zone production.
If Kev sounds in any way, shape or form a little demob happy, that's because he is. It's not long, Kev. You got 5.5 weeks of holiday. Oh, yeah. I said to Kev, why don't we record an episode while you're out there? An episode or two. He said, no, I'm not taking a microphone. I'm only taking the bag that can fit under the Ryanair seat in front of me.
Yeah, although it's not Ryanair.
Oh, it's not.
EasyJet.
EasyJet. Yeah.
Luckily, I'm not one of the 1,500 flights they cancelled yesterday.
Well, most people have been repositioned onto another flight anyway, haven't they? So you'd have been all right, Kev. You'll be there.
Well, it wouldn't have been all right, actually, because there's only 2 flights a week to Almeria. So
that's it.
They'd have been screwed. But yeah, presumably that's why it's not one of the flights that's been cancelled.
Oh, I know you.
Getting flights that are going to like Paris or whatever, where there's 6 a day.
Oh yeah. I know you. You'd have walked. You'd have.
Yeah, I'd have started. I'd have gone there. Yeah.
you'd be out the door. But we over the coming weeks, then we're going to be recording our shows. So they will be probably a smidge shorter. Because we've got to do 3 in a row, and then they'll be recorded for the entire summer. So Kev can literally sit back with a cerveza and do absolutely nothing.
The Fujicast.
Perfect, Kev, huh? Perfect.
Yeah, not too different from how it is now, really.
Wedding business going well then. Oh, Kev. Well, welcome to the Fujicast. Just me, just Kev, just you. Your questions from emails that you've sent in to click@fujicast.co.uk or the Facebook. We are now relying upon you to send lots and lots of Facebooky stuff in, because when you hear this episode on Monday, we are recording on Tuesday, 3 in a row. The length of the show depends on the amount of questions that you're able to furnish us with in the Facebook group and by email to click@fujicast.co.uk. I think that sounds fair, doesn't it, Kev?
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
yeah.
If it's
you have to make my 5.5 week holiday easy.
Kev, your 5.5
week. Make it difficult, people.
No, your 5.5 week holiday is easy anyway. This idea that you're going to be doing jobs around the house, it's going to be non-stop pictures of your feet as we get every single year, the Sun Lounger, isn't it? With your legs going browner by the picture.
There will be a bit of that, but no, I've got chores to do for sure. And I'll be going to be there for a couple of weeks first by ourselves, which will be lovely. And then Rosa and Gemma will arrive the day before my 50th birthday.
Perfect.
And that'll be lovely as well for a couple of weeks. And then, we've got stuff to do. We've got fences to build, all that kind of stuff. And but me and Albie will go away for a few days and go to the water parks, beaches, that kind of stuff. It's going to be great, actually. Really looking forward to it.
I'm pleased you mentioned the 50th birthday, because the other day I was being asked what you might like for your birthday.
Oh, is this from Gemma?
No, but no, I would hope Gemma knows what to buy you.
No chance.
No, by somebody who starts with the letter E. And she, this is a clue as we go along, is probably now very angry with me, because I'm sure she'd rather you think that she thought of something. So we were scratching our heads a bit, and we couldn't really think of anything. So we'll send some fresh air in a jiffy bag across to you when you're in Spain.
Perfect.
Yeah, there we go. It'll be cheap as chips to send. You can have a bit of British. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll go across the border. We'll bag you up some Welsh air so you feel at home.
Yeah.
How about
lovely.
that?
Don't go from Earth Tittle though. Smell a bit.
Well, I think we should know when your 50th is, so that we can all prepare ourselves for sending you a message. Oh, so you mentioned it. So when is the big
50th is actually on August the 10th.
Is it? Let me have a look.
Yeah.
See what I'm doing.
Same day as J. Edgar Hoover.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 10th of August is a Thursday. It's a Thursday.
It doesn't, like when you're in Spain, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is, nothing really.
Every day is a Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Sunday, Saturday, isn't it? Yeah.
Everything's the same, yeah.
Well, I'm available that day. I might just fly over for the party. I have to be back for a wedding on the Saturday.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
I'll be over.
Get back, I can drop you off at Almeria Airport.
Yep.
Get you up there.
Perfect, as they say in Only Fools.
I share the same birthday as Kyle Jenner as well.
Do you?
Kylie Jenner, sorry.
Kylie Jenner.
And Antonio Banderas.
How old is Banderas now? Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas he was born in 1960.
He's a mite older than you then, Kev.
A little bit older than me. Yeah, a whole 13 years older than me. But Jimmy Dean as well. Didn't know that. That's good. Oh, and Roy Keane. Didn't know that either.
There we go. Well,
yeah.
You'll all be all these famous people, and with you in there as well, because no doubt Keane will be looking that up, saying, "Oh look, I've got the same birthday as Mullins." Huh?
Oh, Charlie Dimmock.
Charlie Dimmock. There's a name I haven't heard of
Dimmock, yeah.
for years. Right. Let's crack on.
Ronnie Spector.
Right, yeah, all right, we've done the birthdays now. There's no more, I'm sure. Let's crack on with questions. Are you going to go first or me?
You just cut me off now.
I did, yeah. I faded you down.
I'm still going through famous people with the same birthday as me. Leo Fender.
Who?
Leo, the guy who invented the Fender guitar. Yeah, loads of footballers. It's a good game, this. Are you bored yet?
No, but the crickets are.
It's gone.
We've all gone to sleep.
Gone weird now. Loads and loads of people I don't know the name of.
Right.
Anyway, right. What was the question again?
I don't know. You're doing the first question from Facebook.
Oh, okay. All right. Question from Facebook. First one is, who was also born on the same day as Kevin?
Oh, God.
Okay, the first question, the most recent one, which is 3 days ago. Actually, it's not a question. It's more of a comment on a conversation we had in the last podcast from Matt Crace. He says, where can I find the dates and itinerary for Daytona? He says he's just up the road in America's oldest city, so he thought Gustine would make a great day trip for street shoots and drinking beer. And that's obviously in reference to the fact that you're going to Daytona Beach, I think.
Not for another year.
All right, well, there you go then.
No.
Anyway.
Does he mean when the...
So Matt Crace is waiting for you.
Right, is he? Right, okay. Well, you'll have a long wait because it's a year and a bit. But I'm really looking forward to it. I want to go to the International Speedway. We didn't go last. I mean, you would have thought if you went to Daytona, you'd go to the International Speedway. But we didn't. We went to a crisp or chips factory instead because that was more my mother-in-law's idea of a great day out.
I've got to say, I'm with your mother-in-law on that.
Really?
Yeah.
I tell you what.
Cars and bikes don't really do anything for me.
Well, yeah, but it's the event, Kev. It's the infamous. Well, infamous is a famous place for it, but we'll probably end up in the chip factory again. So the answer to that is we don't know. I do have a comment here as well. This one is from David Shanley, who's written in about the new X app. Now, initially his email was, I installed the latest firmware on both the X-T4 and X-T30 as described by Fujifilm before using the new Fujifilm app. I then installed the new Fujifilm app on my Samsung mobile phone. When both the camera and phone are on, what you have to do is press the disp back button on the Fuji camera, then select the Bluetooth option on the menu. This should pair the camera to the app. After doing this on both my cameras, the phone tells me the sync is unsuccessful. Computer says no. He's having terrible troubles with it. He's just tried the interface, checking my Bluetooth settings on the phone, and he's disappointed. I thought this new app was going to sort all our problems out, Kev. But
it worked perfectly for me, and I've not seen any problems. The only thing I would suggest is to make sure that both the cameras have the latest firmware, because there were firmware updates to enable them to be compatible with the new app. Double check that, and also double check that your phone is compatible. Also, because there are some of the older, I think, versions of Android, like Android 10. I think they're up to like 13 now, but Android 10 and later, I think. Just a couple of things to check, but yeah, I mean, no problems here, and I've not seen anybody else. All I've seen is positive comments about it, to be totally honest with you.
Well, he upgraded his X-T4 and X-T30 so he could use it. He can't. What a disappointment! I don't know what's going on there. It'll be interesting. I mean, it's a bit two-dimensional at the moment, or one-dimensional. So what we're going to ask here is tell us what your experiences have been of the app. I think that's the only thing we can do. And if there's anything you've had to do to make it work when it's not working for you.
The other thing I would suggest doing, though, just to be on the safe side, is to clear the application cache, which you can do in the setting. Go to Settings, Apps, search for the app, and then there should be a clear cache kind of thing. Just in case there's if you had the older version of the app, there might be something like that going on.
Right, before we have the next question, Kev, I was at a wedding and the father of the groom is a listener, Mark Adams. So, hello, Mark. And the first thing he did when he came up to me at the wedding, or the first thing he said when he came up to me at the wedding, practically the first sentence was that he uses pick-time.com. It was almost like
Did he get a free month by using Fujicast code?
He didn't do that bit. He should have done that bit, shouldn't he? But it was practically like listening to the advert. I thought, hang on a minute, am I in Podcast Sphere? So yeah, that was. I wanted to give Mark a shout as well. But thank you to our sponsor, indeed, pick-time.com, which we're very, very grateful for supporting this show. We both use them. It's a great way to show your wares to the world. If you don't have to be a professional photographer, but showing your work and selling your work online looks really attractive when you do it through pick-time.com. And I can say that with a great degree of confidence, because both myself and Kev have used various different alternatives to this. And I think we'd agree with each other. This is by far the best platform so far, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I had an interesting conversation with a past client a couple of weeks ago also, who said that they had some images that the groom had taken earlier in the day that they wanted to include in their album. He'd taken them on his phone. And, was there a way they could send them to me and I could upload them and all that? I said, no, there's no need to do that. Or I will enable the little checkbox that says, allow clients to upload their own photos. And then you can upload them yourself and stick them in your album. So, yeah, all of those little features, amazing. Takes the work load off us massively.
Yeah. And it enables Kev to take huge long holidays every summer.
Indeed, it does. And you will also get 1 month free with the code FUJICAST, capital letters.
Do they also get a chance to come and stay with you for a week in Spain?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, you probably shouldn't offer that. Otherwise you will be bound to it. Right, if you'd like to take advantage of our FujiCast special offer for joining pick-time.com and getting 1 month free, then go to pick-time.com and enter the code FujiCast when you're invited to join up. Right, let's go back to Facebook. Question.
Okay, this is also not really a question, but this is another comment on last time's show where we talked about glasses. I've got my glasses now, by the way.
Oh.
And I have, the world is a very different place.
I bet.
Very different. I spent about 4 hours in the car yesterday just ringing Gemma up and reading out license plates in cars because I could see them.
My God, were you like you just have been with your birthday, but you just didn't stop? Oh, there's another license plate. Let me read you that one. Oh, look, there's that one. Is that what you did?
I answering the phone in the end, and I watched an action film for the first time. I don't really what was it, Mission Impossible or something? I can't stand any of those types of films, right. But it was on. It was something on, and I glanced at it. And obviously, we've got quite a large TV, and it's like full HD, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa, look at that!" It was literally like being in the film. Oh. It was incredible.
There we go. You should have had glasses a long time ago, by the sounds of it.
I know. So I quickly switched over to naked attraction, and then it was great.
Everything looked bigger, right?
I was like, yeah, and then I was disappointed.
Go on then. Question.
Okay, so Patrick Kelly says, glasses, : I usually get sunglasses frames or sunglasses frames with clear lenses because they are curved, and that gets my eyeball a few millimeters closer to the finder. Ah. The more curved, the closer you are to the finder. It depends on your prescription and the frames, but usually it's not a problem to get clear glass in a sunglasses frame. Also, having easy diopter adjustments on my camera is crucial for me because I switch back and forth between wearing and not wearing my glasses depending on the environment, inside, outside, etc. I get really annoyed when the diopter adjustment is difficult to use. I would love to have 2 diopter settings and be able to quickly switch between them. That's a good idea, Patrick. Yeah. That's a feature I've never seen on a camera. Yeah, presets, dioptic presets. Good idea.
Yeah, that could work, couldn't it?
I think that's a great idea for people who who like I won't need to wear my glasses for shooting my weddings, but for people who those types of people who they're always popping their glasses on top of their head and bring them down to their eyes.
I can't be doing with that. No,
but for those people that do that, then a quick function button that switches for the diopter would be perfect.
It would be, wouldn't it? It's a very sort of analogy thing, that, isn't it? Adjusting your diopter.
Well, yeah, I mean that's why I think it's probably never been done, because it's a micro adjustment to the lens in the viewfinder. Yeah. It's not a digital thing.
No.
But if you could have 2 lock-in functions, perhaps, where you just kind of switch it between 2. I don't know. we shall consider.
There's no reason why it can't be a digital thing, because all you would be doing is effectively telling the EVF to make to make different degrees of focus.
Yeah, but I'm not sure it is. I think it's through the viewfinder rather than the electronic elements of it that the dioptic works. You know, the little glass thing that you stare through.
Yeah,
I think it's adjusting that glass lens rather than adjusting the EVF display. If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Probably doesn't.
Okay. Stan Schwartz, episode 249. Kev, tell Neil. Oh no, I'm in trouble. He doesn't use exposure compensation. Well, I do, but I do use it. Okay. He speaks about using back button focus to select his subject, and then with spot metering enabled, moving either the camera or the spot meter square, not sure which, to a spot that gives the best exposure. I'm flummoxed on how to do this during a wedding where subjects are moving around, and how to set up the buttons on an XT5 so I have enough fingers to accomplish the task. Clearly, Kev's fingers must be finely agile from his music avocation. How about more detail? Is the camera set to lock focus without needing to keep pressing back button focus? Is seeking the best exposure with spot meter quicker than twiddling your exposure compensation dial? From Stan.
Yeah, so it's much quicker. So you, we have talked about this. You lock the focus and then just twist the camera very slightly to get a different exposure if needed. Have to press the shutter, shoot.
Yeah.
Much quicker, because the camera in back button focusing mode isn't refocusing every time you press the shutter button. Right. And of course, if it refocuses, it then re-exposes all of that stuff. So yeah, it's just much quicker. I think the beginning of that email should have been the other way around. I think he was shouting at me, not you.
Yeah, I think it was. I'm reading it again thinking, I'm always in trouble. But actually, it should be you that's in trouble this time.
Yeah, I think so. But no, it is. Yeah, I mean, it's quicker for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to be quicker for everybody, but certainly it's much quicker and easier than locking focus, moving the fingers up to the exposure compensation or the dial, rear dial, driving that down. And also you get you're building the exposure based on what you want to see, rather than focusing and then bringing the exposure down or up and just trying to get that in the relevant part. You know, you're kind of focusing on maybe a face and thinking, actually, I'm going to build this exposure quickly from that lamp that's in the background, twisting the camera to expose for that element or a little bit of shadow.
You changed to that system many years ago, didn't you? I think you were possibly even shooting Canon when you changed.
I've always used that system. Yeah, I don't like Canon. I mean, obviously, well, no. So I didn't use it with Canon so much because there was no electronic viewfinder. So you can't really see the exposure being built at the same time. I've always used back button focus, even with Canon, but the idea of using spot metering and building the exposure, using fine twists of the camera, that wasn't in my Canon days. But as soon as the Fujifilm electronic viewfinder came along with that original X100, I suddenly went, ooh, look at that.
Life changed. Stan Schwartz, thank you very much. Go on, back to you. Your question.
Leah Murphy. Hi, guys. Curious to know your thoughts and pros and cons of using an SSD versus a HDD for long-term storage. I'm a full-time portrait photographer, and a good one as well, actually, I might add, as well as a very active photographer in my personal life. I'd love to move away from platter drives due to speed issues in accessing the data. I use a Mac Studio Max M1, but I've read mixed reviews as to the wisdom of using SSD for storage that may not be accessed more than a few times per month. Thank you, Leah.
Well, you'd always choose SSD, wouldn't you, versus...
No.
No? Oh.
So, Leah's dead right. This is my understanding of it as well. SSD is for speed.
Yes.
But the lifetime of an SSD probably won't be as long as a HDD.
What? I've changed all my external drives to SSDs.
Yeah, but, I think that you're going to be pretty unlucky if you... SSDs come with lifetime guarantees of 30 million writes. And the reason they're doing that is because they know that they will eventually kind of stop. But long-term, if you want to be proper archival long-term storage, and you're probably better off looking at tape still. But HDD is reputedly, and I'm only based on what I've read and seen and researched also, better for long-term storage. SSD for speed. Yeah. So I have SSDs in my computer, which I work from. My working drive is SSD, but actually my archive drives are old kind of HDDs. Yeah, I just stick them in a cupboard.
Which are cheaper as well.
They are cheaper, but they're bigger and they need power usually.
Yeah,
you need to plug them in, all that kind of stuff. It depends, but it's not something that worries me totally because all of my stuff is also in the cloud. So the kind of cupboard storage is overkill. But yes, I mean, Leah's dead right in terms of SSD. I would not let it worry you too much, though. I mean, I would opt for speed over, kind of the longevity of HDD, certainly for your everyday working stuff. And then perhaps if you really want to be careful about it in the future, then I would, probably. And one would like to think that people don't have their pictures only in one place as well. So, HDD in the cupboard, in the cloud, whatever, Google Pictures, whatever, all that kind of stuff, or just print them out.
When it comes to the makes of the ones you use, what do you choose? I mean, I've changed. I'm a Mac user, as you know, so I use Lassie. No, not Lassie. Not the dog.
How long have you been waiting for Lassie to come up? I've had that button teed up for 4 years waiting for somebody. He's like, oh my God, it's a hard this question. Quick.
Thanks so much for the question. Lassie is the one. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. Actually, is it Lacey or Lassie?
I've always called it Lacey, I have to say, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think isn't it a Swiss company? So it could be.
I'm not quite sure actually, but I mean, as far as I'm gonna. This is tempting fate now, Kev. I'm going to touch wood as I'm saying this, but they have been absolutely brilliant drives for me, and they're guaranteed. There's a sort of a drop height guarantee on the ones I use as well, which is I've fortunately not dropped one. I wouldn't want to test it, to be honest, but it makes me feel safe carrying them around in a bag. To be fair,
yeah. I mean, I'm just looking through my order history, and I've got a combination of Lacey, Lassie, and Seagate.
What do you use now? What do you favour?
Mine are all inside my computer.
Oh, of course they are.
And the ones inside the computer are
Seagate, probably, aren't they?
Western Digital, I think.
Oh, are they? Okay. What about the ones you take away if you're moving stuff around with you? Do you, what?
Hold on. So I got a little thing. I've had these for a long time, actually. These are two very tiny portable SSDs. These are the things that, should I take my laptop, will come with me to Spain. These are Samsung's. Samsung T3 portable SSDs. I've got a 2 terabyte one and a 512 gigabyte one, and they're tiny. They're like little chocolate bars. But like I say, I've had these a long time, so they're probably slower than you can probably get much better ones these days.
Kev, is there one you would avoid? Being careful about the lawyers.
I would very much avoid those cheap ones that you see, certainly on Amazon. I don't think you get the cheap ones on like Warehouse Express or MPB or anything like that. But on Amazon, you see a lot of sponsored SSDs that seem too good to be true.
Yeah, they probably are.
And they are.
Yeah. But you're the one that usually buys all the Amazon basics, aren't you? For when it comes to batteries and stuff like that. Wasn't it you that?
Yeah. No, I have no problem. I wouldn't buy an Amazon Basics SSD. I don't even know if they do something like that, I have to say. But only because it's like business critical stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything else. Amazon Basic underpants, Amazon Basic socks. All of that.
We had something here from Mark from the Fuji Love podcast. Which I think we should have read a few weeks ago, and it was to do with the Fujifilm app. Hi Kev, Neil. I'm sure by now a metric ton of people already chimed in, but the issue some people are having with the new Fujifilm app, I wish we had read this a moment ago, is the drain on the battery. No, that's a different thing altogether, I think, to what we were discussing. If it's always tracking your GPS, older phones can take a hit on this. Potentially. People might be looking to avoid their phones becoming slower, having to charge more, and so on and so forth. Would that make any difference to the problem we were talking about? Could there be some sort of interruptive element going on? No.
Don't think so.
No?
Don't think so.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
All right.
I wouldn't have thought so.
Is it my go or your go?
Well, what was the end of that? So Mark was saying that it's the always on connection is causing a battery drain, which is true. And I know that some people are not happy about that. But so my understanding of that is, that the idea is that you can just switch your camera on and shoot. And if you had to switch camera on and then reconnect it and re-Bluetooth it every time, then you kind of lose that ability to just be instant with it.
Yeah.
But I think it would be nice if they gave people the option to either have it on all the time or not have it on all the time, which would, mean they'd have to reconnect and be a little bit slower at startup. So there you go. Right. What did you just say to me?
Oh, was it your go or mine?
Sorry, I've fallen into looking at the Amazon Prime.
I know. I could tell you were sober. It was either that or looking at the beaches from where you're about to go.
I'm looking at memory cards now and things.
Oh, dear.
And now's the day to get your memory cards.
Let me read one then. Ken Batchelor. It's like the complaints desk here today, Kev.
Oh no!
Sorry to unleash my inner pedant, but it was interesting to hear Kev describe Dado Moriyama's work as lovely, grainy film natural imagery. Well, I would argue about the term natural being applied. I can understand a fondness for filmic images, but the idiosyncrasies of chemical images are just as artificial as those of digital images. Yes, he's an original and an interesting artist, but his images are no more natural for embracing grain and a filmic look. We may have a fondness for the ways things used to be and the techniques used, but that doesn't mean they're any more natural. Sorry to seem like I'm nitpicking, but as they say, the devil's in the detail. Embrace the old, embrace the new, keep up the good work. Cheers, Ken.
I think I was referring to natural as in candid.
Right, okay. Well, sorry to unleash our inner pedant there, Ken, but you have to be careful when he talks about a different kind of natural now. He's got glasses on, he can see more.
That's right. We should re-review all of the photo books, starting from the beginning. And I'd be like, look at that!
Oh my God, I'd never realised that was in the picture. Yeah. All right.
I see all kinds of things.
Your turn.
My turn.
Yeah.
So we have a question here from Mike Wooten from Australia.
Oh.
Hi, Kev. Hi, Neil. Question for you both. In making the podcast, I know it takes a considerable amount of your time and effort. How do you guys work in sharing the load behind the scenes? What would be the total hours you put in to deliver? And are you each responsible for different parts? Or does it just in turn up every 2 weeks like a well-tuned piano?
Do you know, when you sit there usually and there's a technical one and you say, what do you think, Neil? I'm going to do the same to you now. Well, how long does it take, Kev?
It takes about 45 minutes to record. That's it.
That's not
it
quite
takes me about
fair.
half an hour to put the website page together.
That's it.
Other than that.
Yeah. You can do it two ways. You can either be quite sloppy with it and just record. I know podcasters that say, I like it. I don't want to make too many changes, and they don't make any changes. They don't take any funny sort of mouth noises that you can get. I mean, I don't take all the breaths out, but sometimes I take a few breaths out. I just basically do the same stuff that I was taught to do at the BBC, which was a long time ago.
I don't think we should mention the BBC.
Probably not. There might be some more vacancies coming up soon. It's something we shouldn't really laugh about at all.
Yeah,
if you're outside the country, you'll maybe not be so aware. But it's odd, isn't it, to see them having to put that. I mean, by the time this goes out, we might know the answer to the question. But it's odd to hear them having to spend a quarter of the main news bulletin at 10 p.m. at night actually seemingly destroying themselves. So really, we probably can't say too much about it though, can we? So look, in terms of editing, that was the way I was taught to edit. Take out stuff that doesn't sound nice because some people have a problem listening to it.
That's why you cut me out all the time.
No, I don't cut you out all the time. Take out long breaths. Because of the way compression works across Zoom, sometimes when Kev is thinking, that long intake of breath actually gets amplified quite a lot. Not by Kev, but by Zoom. So sometimes I have to lower those. Roughly, it takes 3 times as long as recording to turn one of these podcasts out. Roughly. But not everybody does that, Kev, do they? I mean, we know of podcasts that just hardly change a thing. Does that change the listening enjoyment of it? Maybe not. It's arguable that it doesn't. I don't know. What do you think, Kev? Should we?
Well, I do know that when I used to come to your place and we would record, the audio quality was better for my side of things.
Yeah.
because
So it's gonna
now
be,
I'm being, which of course makes sense. And now I'm coming down the wire. There's slight difference, but yes. So I do think audio quality is super important, and you do the best job at that. Whereas I just spend my time sitting here doing things like this.
Kev, it's not just you, it's me as well. Sometimes I think, what you've got to be careful of is the amount of milk you drink when you record anything like voiceovers, and because that's something that can, without being too disgusting, it can be something that gloops you up a bit.
Ooh, grim. I don't drink milk anyway.
Yeah. Well, you might have. I know you don't. You have black coffee, don't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a voiceover friend of mine called Guy, who I don't think he's had milk for about a decade now, since reading something about it in terms of what it does to his voice.
Yeah, I haven't drunk milk in, I don't know, probably about 20 years, but not actually. That's not true. I probably have had cereal and stuff in that time, but I tend not to have any milk.
I was listening to a really interesting health podcast the other day saying how good milk is, but for years people have said no, it's not good for you because you're doing this and you're drinking milk out of an animal that's not yet, and so on and so forth, and all those arguments for it. But now they found that all these amazing like superfood enzymes in milk are actually quite anti-carcinogenic as well.
I always thought milk was good for you.
Well,
I never thought it wasn't bad for you. I never thought it was bad for you. I just don't really like it.
I think there's all sorts of misnomers about milk and what it does for certain diseases as well. But it's really interesting. Go to the Zoe channel. Have you ever been to the Zoe channel?
No, is this the Zoe Project thing?
Well, partly, but
when you stick a patch on your body and it tells you what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat, which has been very good by the sounds of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, it might well be. I'm not so au fait with that. But Tim Spector, who was the I think he's the lead of Zoe. The programs they put out, what they talk about with health. I mean, I listened to one about snacking the other day, and it's actually physically changed the way I snack in 7 days.
Did it make you hungry though when you're listening to it? It's made me hungry. I haven't listened to it. You just mentioned it, and now I'm hungry.
What do you want? A bag of crisps? No, you can't have a. No, that's the stuff you shouldn't be eating.
What? No, wagon wheels are lovely.
I know they're lovely. I'm not debating that at all. I love them. But no, you should be having 32 grams of nuts, Kev. Mixed nuts. That's what you should be having for your snack. And if you've got high blood pressure, make that 50 grams, because that's doing something amazing behind the scenes for you. See, we're into it.
Or here's the thing.
Yeah.
You could enjoy your life. There you go. You don't need a website to tell you that.
There we are. That's the health part of the podcast officially over.
No, I'm not particularly good at. I mean, I get it. I'm not belittling it, but I do think there's a little bit of you know, if you listen to everything possible.
Yeah.
We were once told that watching the television would make your eyes, you get cancer in your eyes, and then
who said
like
that, Kev?
Peanut will kill you, and peanuts are good for you, and it's like sometimes you just gotta take a step back and think, okay, I'm just going to be sensible.
Yeah.
And I'm only going to have 2 wagon wheels instead of 3
per hour.
Yeah, per hour.
Do you remember? I don't know. Did your mum and dad say to you ever, "Oh, young Kevin, don't watch so much telly. You'll get square eyes"?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. All of that stuff. Yeah. And that's what we started this conversation with the milk, and the milk board adverts used to be that milk was good for you.
Yeah.
Good for your calcium levels and all that, your bones and what have you. And then it became bad for you. And now, apparently, according to you, it's good for you again. So it's like, oh, God, let's just eat things and drink things we like and just try not to overdo it.
Yeah, and 2 wagon wheels an hour. Yeah.
2 wagon wheels, an hour, maximum.
Yes, as prescribed by Dr. Kev.
Yes, MD.
But that Zoe channel is good, by the way. I've really enjoyed listening and watching that.
Yeah, Gemma. In fairness, Gemma's reading all about that kind of stuff, and she's kind of taking it on board as well.
Oh, watch this space then, because if Gemma starts to read, she's going to change your life, Kev. I know this. She'll say, "Mullins, we are not eating that anymore. Clear all the wagon wheels out the cupboard. We're having broccoli."
I don't get. Look, you seem to think I'm stupid. I don't keep the wagon wheels at home.
Oh,
I keep them in my studio.
Well, don't say that. She listens to this podcast. Right, Adam Belcher. Hello, Neil. Hello, Kev. Thank you for the amazing shows. They're brilliant. I don't know, are they? It was nice. By the way, Kate Cunningham, while I remember, she asked to pass on. I was speaking to her yesterday. You might not necessarily, you will have read a mail from Kate out at some stage over the last few years, I know. But you might not necessarily immediately recognise the name. But Kate is, she's a great contributor of my other podcast, The Photo Walk. But she's been with us since day dot as well, Kev. And I spoke to her yesterday and she said, please pass on all my best to Kev and his lovely wife Gemma and the kids, particularly when we were in the throes of COVID and everybody had shut down. She said that 3 months where you did a daily show was a real recharge for me every day, both in mental terms specifically, really. And so she wanted to pass on her thanks. She was quite emotional about it, actually, as well.
That's very kind.
I wonder if we'll ever go back and listen to those, or will that frighten you?
I think if I went back and listened to it, I'd be like, oh my God, you are raving alcoholic.
Oh, Kev, that wouldn't pass the Tim Spector test at all. No.
Yeah.
It was...
I think, it's a good archive.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
The history of that period of a daily show across those 3 months, I think we bore our souls, didn't we?
We bored a lot of souls.
Anyway, back to Adam. Hello, Neil. Hello, and thank you, Kate. It was a privilege being there. I don't suppose that Kev saw a lot of it, and that wasn't necessarily to do with his glasses. Hi, Neil. Hi, Kev. Thanks for the amazing shows. My question is, if you were... oh, here we go, Kev. You'll like this one. If you were retired, not lottery winners, but retired, no longer having to earn money, would you keep and use the pro gear you use now for personal projects? Or would you downsize and largely use just one piece of kit, one lens, one camera sort of thing? Just lately, I've started to realise that quite often less can be more. What are your thoughts? From Adam. Adam's a prof, don't you know? So okay, retire. Kev, can you see a time when you will retire?
Yeah.
You're not going to be like one of these creators that says, no, I'm always going to be working. I need to be creative. It's good for my soul.
No, it won't. I won't be one of those, that's for sure. But yeah, I would get rid of a lot of stuff. I would, for example, I have no need for my XT5s apart from shooting weddings. So they would go. I think probably I would keep my emotional cameras. The ones, some of them have got my name as serial numbers, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, everything else,
would
gone.
Go.
Yeah.
What would you shoot with? What? I mean, surely you wouldn't just stop making pictures, or would you? Would you get to a stage where you thought that was my old life?
No. It'd be a hobby then, wouldn't it? Kind of. It'd be like pictures of the people in the pub, pictures of the people outside the pub, pictures of the people coming into the pub,
picture the glasses in the pub.
Yeah,
okay. I get the idea of where you're going to be in your retirement.
No, I think like X100. It's a similar question, isn't it? If we were, if we could only have one camera for the rest of our lives, and it would be a toss up between the X100, X70. But yeah, I wouldn't. I'd get rid of a lot of stuff.
Would you?
A lot. I'd get rid of my big computer. I'd get rid of everything. Yeah, I'd delete your phone number from my phone.
Could I keep that 35mm I stole from you that I don't?
Oh, yeah. No, I'd come around my house and get all that back and then get rid of it.
You just throw it in a bin just to be spiteful.
I'm glancing around my studio now, looking and just thinking of all of the stuff that I've got.
Would it go?
Actually, I don't. If I was not a professional photographer, I wouldn't need. And there's a lot.
Well, you'd get rid of everything. There would be nothing. Well, you wouldn't have that building for a start, would you? It would be gone.
Well, I'd have to have this building because Gemma puts all of the stuff that doesn't fit in the house yet.
Well, that's why you buy a lock-up. It's probably a lot cheaper than having an office.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
I tell you, I've looked into it. This is a lot cheaper and a lot nicer.
You should rent that out as a lock-up then.
Yeah, that's what I should do.
That's what you would do with it. Yeah. I was talking to Paul, Paul Waring, of course you do, because, we've talked to, he's did you second shoot for him? You did, didn't you?
I second shot for him, he's second shot for me, yeah. Lovely bloke. Yeah.
Well, I had a really nice time photographing wedding with him in Wales, last weekend, and we were having a chat about the simplicity of simplifying your kit bag. And I talked about the couple of weddings I'd done. Well, I'd bought an XH2S, and at the time I don't know why I couldn't buy two. Probably money, Kev, post-COVID. But so I worked a few weddings with just an XH2S and the X100V, and I said, I can't tell you how liberating that experience was. I mean, it was a nerve-wracking one because I don't think the X100V is the perfect camera for weddings. But it was really liberating just to work with that one camera body.
Yeah, it's a great camera. Yeah.
He didn't mention, he said retired, not lottery winners. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
What lottery would you like to win, Kev? Would you rather have the 147 million euro thing, or would you rather... The one I really like is the one we do in the UK, is one called... it's £10,000 a month for the next 30 years.
Yeah, I do that. Set for life.
Set for life, that's the one. I think that feels to me like a really good prize. Not too much that you'd go just a bit off the rails, but just enough that you think, well, I don't have to worry anymore, as long as I'm not daft and want to buy...
No, it does sound nice, doesn't it? However, the odds of winning that are actually even more. You're more likely to win the not the Euro Millions, but the national lottery than you are winning that. But yes, I agree totally. That sounds very, very pleasant way of life. £10,000 a month for 30 years.
Yeah. Just don't spend too much on wagon wheels. Right, your question, Kev, off the Facebook.
By the wagon wheel factory. It's in Cumbrain. It's right by where my sister lives. Yeah. Sometimes they're just going to stand outside, like
and smell
and his mates, and just smell it, lick the walls, that kind of stuff.
Stop it. Right, your question from Facebook. I don't think we got too much longer now. So
right, okay. So reasonably quick one then from David Jennings. He says, recently done a couple of music concerts where I came back with almost 2,000 images per event. The thought of going through them and cutting down to about 100 good images was daunting. I'm currently using Lightroom. Do you have any tips to help cut down post-event photo rejects, or should I just try and go easier on the shutter?
Easier on the shutter, I would say. Don't overshoot. We both use Photo Mechanic, don't we, for culling? I find that a really quick tool, and I quite like the positive element of of pressing a number for those you want to keep, and at the end just looking at selecting that particular color as it turns out to be on your keyboard, and because it seems a really quick way of culling images.
Yeah, I definitely, David, would not recommend that you do your culling in Lightroom. I wouldn't recommend anybody does their culling in Lightroom.
Slow.
Use something like Photo Mechanic or even Bridge. Anything to do your culling. You could also, there's now AI culling software tools. Imagine AI have a culling ability. I don't really trust any of those, but your mileage may vary. You could also, if you're sat on the train on the way home from the concert, give the images a rating on the back of the camera, just whip through them, give them a 4-star or 5-star or whatever. And then Photo Mechanic will pick that up, or indeed Lightroom. But yeah, I mean, ultimately shoot less if you can. But I was thinking 2,000 images for a music concert doesn't sound overly too much to me. However, I did then think 2,000 images for a wedding does sound too much.
Yeah. And it's longer probably than a concert. Yeah.
No, but I think with music, there's no prediction to it, is it? So you're just basically firing away at the performers and hoping that they do something amazing. And there is an element of hope with that. Whereas with a wedding, I think you have to be much more of an observer, because you understand what's going on. There's a format to it. You can see moments evolving and starting. Whereas with music, probably less so. Yeah. But I will caveat that with the fact that I've never shot a music concert, so I don't know. But I didn't think 2,000 sounded too much.
You're lucky to get to 2,000. There's many concerts. They have the 3-song rule where you're in the
that's true.
You're at the front in the pit or wherever you're positioned to be, and you're only allowed to shoot for the first 3 numbers. And then that is it. You're out of there. You'd have to go sub to shoot 2,000 in that time. But no flash is a strict no flash rule. I suppose shoot a bit less, but you use Photo Mechanic. Certainly don't use Lightroom.
Yes, definitely. Don't be using Lightroom for your culling. Definitely.
Will Collin. Hi, Kev. Hi, Neil. This summer, I'm going to be away on an extended 3-week holiday. You'll have to go some to beat Kev. And I'm wondering what to do to keep the backup of the photos I take in case something bad happens to my camera while I am away. We had a similar question to this before, but I don't think we've read this one. I know I could use the brand new X app to keep a copy of JPEGs, but I always shoot RAW, and I like to be able to back up the RAW files, actually. I'll be taking my XT T4. So the fancy new wireless file transfer grip is not an option. Is there some kind of affordable backup system where I can slot my SD card into some sort of pocket-sized SSD hard drive, transfer all the new images without needing a laptop to control everything? Thanks, as always, Will Collin. Years ago, I had, what do they call it? Something like Bojo, but not Bojo, because, of course, that's something else altogether. But it sounded like that, which was a wonderful... It was a small wallet-sized thing, Kev, that you shoved... At that time, it was... compact flash card into it, and it had a screen, so you got a basic image of what your picture was, and then it just stored it all onto a hard drive. It was quite small. It's probably too small for these days, but that was. Is there something you know of that's similar to that? Because I haven't seen something like that.
There's something called a GNARBOX.
Right.
GNAR box. GNARBOX.
Gnar the GNU.
Gnar. I'm a GNU. How about you?
Oh no.
I'm a GNU. I'm a GNU. I'm a GNU. GNARBOX.
GNARBOX.
Which I did also have one. And I'm just seeing if they still exist.
Well, they do, yeah, they do. GNARBOX.
I would imagine it's a silent G. GNARBOX. Let's just call it a GNARBOX.
GNARBOX, yeah.
Yes, so currently unavailable on Amazon, which doesn't bode very well, does it?
If you did get them,
there we go. GNARBOX may be dead, so buyer beware. Yeah, probably not the best thing to be advising. But anyway, search for something is like a GNARBOX, which was that. It was basically a SSD that you stuck your SD card in, and it just sucked them all on. And then that was it. And it worked. It worked. In fairness, it worked for me, and it had a little app and all that kind of stuff. But I'm looking at the internet. It's.
I think you're being steered firmly away from the GNARBOX. That's for sure.
Yeah, but look for GNARBOX or GNARBOX equivalents, and you'll probably find some things.
Tell you what, they're expensive. These. You have to be well heeled for a GNAR. That's for sure. So
GNARBOX's last ever Instagram post was 87 weeks ago.
Right, okay.
Think of that as you wish.
Yeah. So maybe GNARBOX equivalent.
The GNARBOX.com website is a GoDaddy landing page.
Right. Okay.
They got 141,000 followers on Instagram now.
Yeah,
that's what you call a dead account.
Well, on last seen, there's a suggestion here: travel SD card backup solution, the GNARBOX alternative. A good alternative to it is the Samsung T5 SSD. But then they start talking about LaCie Rugged Mini. But that's not the same as what we're talking about.
That's not the same.
No,
it needs to be something you can stick your SD card into.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave you with homework for that particular one. Well, the dog's just woken up, as you can probably hear in the background, so it's probably a good time to press the old theme tune here. Now, next week, Kev is coming into the studio. So if you're listening to this on the day of release, it will be tomorrow that Kev is coming into the studio. Tomorrow, Kev will be here recording 3 weeks worth of 3 shows worth, because it's every other week, to cover that enormous amount of time that he goes off skiving during the summer. I'm only saying that in that disrespectful manner because I'm...
You're going on holiday as well.
Well, yeah, but for a week, Mullins, for a week. You're going off for 5.5 weeks. And you're not even taking a laptop. You're taking thongs, in the Australian version of, and that's it.
I might take my laptop. I haven't decided.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm definitely taking thongs though. Yeah.
So that'll be... It's just thongs and a smile for 5.5 weeks. But in order to get enough material, we need you to work hard on these questions, because we're recording tomorrow. Do I need to say tomorrow any more times? So send your questions to Facebook. How do we do that, Kev?
Go to Facebook, search for Fujicast, join the group, and at the top is a post that says new questions for the show thread.
Or you can email them into click@fujicast.co.uk for our big recording. We will see you in a couple of weeks' time. Bye-bye.
The Fujicast is an independent loading zone production. Email the show with your questions and words of wisdom to click@fujicast.co.uk. Email any complaints and political nonsense to our wives, who will deal with your comments in their own good time and in their own good way.